So this week is Shabbos Torah Vayeira. I remind myself, in conjunction with the Akedah, the binding of Yitzchak, in lieu of a chamor, in lieu of a sacrifice, we all, bring it and say it, bring it to our attention, and we say it on the Yom HaNoyroim, on the days of war, and the Akedah is, hoo-ha, the Akedah. And we say to Hashem, and that schus and that merit that our ancestor, Avraham and Yitzchak, were willing to do this, we should be blessed, and we should have a good year, and have only brachas and blessings, on and on and on. I knew a Yid, his name was Avraham Mayore Avraham Drizin. He learned in Lubavitch as a 13, 14-year-old in 1913, 1914. He learned there for many, many years, and I had opportunity to talk to him many, many times, and to hear him and to listen. This was when I was a teenager, an older teenager, and I started to form ideas and look at the world and what's going on and have questions. And meeting such a Yid with his wonderful, beautiful, long white beard and his keen sense of understanding, he was a kluger Yid. He was sharp, a sharp cookie, smart. He wasn't foolish. He wasn't a nar. And at times I would say to Avraham, so what about this and this chassid? What's your opinion about this and this chassid? And he said, a chassid. And I thought about this chassid, that he was God's gift to humanity. He was unbelievable. And Avraham kind of poo-pooed it. He didn't say anything negative, but a chassid. So I asked him, Avraham, and what do you think about this chassid? And he said, no. Like, big deal. No. And then he saw that something was bothering me, that I was flabbergasted. I mean, I mentioned these two great Hasidim, and his response was less than enthusiastic. So he said to me, you're probably wondering why I responded the way I did, so let me tell you. A Chassid, what I saw, and what my barometer of a chassid is, someone who is ready to allow himself to be shechted, to be slaughtered, like at the Akedah, like Yitzchak. And we in Russia, he says, those of us who are ready to be shechted for the existence of Yiddishkeit and what our Rebbes, the Rabbeim, wanted, particularly the Frierdiker Rebbe, during the hardest of times, those that were ready to give up everything, their wife, their children, their money, their community, their Rebbe, and their God. Because this is what needs to be done now. It's a shas chedem, it's a time of crisis, halachic crisis, where even the minutest submission to Stalinism and company is tantamount to worshiping an idol. That was the view that Avraham Mayore was sharing with this young, impressionable 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old. And it hit me that this is why he said about those other Hasidim. They were great Hasidim. They davened for many hours, and they knew Hasidus, and they did the tzedakah, and they knew halacha and gemara, ba. But they didn't go for the shechita. Maybe they didn't need to go for the shechita, but the bottom line is they were not tested like Yitzchak and Avraham were tested. So now you understand when the Torah says, Ki ata yadaiti, now Hashem says, Ki ata yadaiti, for now I know, Avraham, that you are Yirei Elikim, a God-fearing person. Why now? What about the previous 9 tests that Avraham went through when he succeeded and he risked his life? Until this 10th test, one could have interpreted those 9 as self-aggrandizement in one way or the other. But this test taking your only son as binchas yechidcha, your only son, meaning Yitzchak and not Yishmael, etc., and slaughtering him when you just told me, God, when you told me, I'll make you, I'll make from your children a great nation, I'll make of you a great nation. How could that be? You're telling me to kill my son, bring him as a sacrifice. It's an oxymoron, what you're telling me. Avraham didn't question. Avraham says, you want me to bring him to the shechita? I'm doing it. In other words, the shechita, the slaughtering, the mesiras nefesh, the self-sacrifice is where it's at. Now, Baruch Hashem, thank God today, we don't have this nisayon. Generally, we don't have this avodah, this test, this trial. But in concept, it exists every day. To be able to give away of yourself without any cheshbonis, without any calculations, doesn't make sense, does not make sense. How much am I going to profit? How much am I going to lose? Is it what the Rebbe wants? Is not what he wants? And all of these calculations, both physical and spiritual. In other words, what we're emphasizing here is that even a spiritual calculation is a calculation and a limitation. That's not going to the shechita. That's not being slaughtered. That's not real mesiras nefesh. That's a limited mesiras nefesh. And listen, we need, halavai, we should have more of that limited mesiras nefesh as well. But nevertheless, when we learn this parsha, I remind myself of what Avraham, it's like he's standing in front of me, with his beard in 770, standing over there against the wall. He would twist his beard like this, talking. And I was this little schnook, nothing, and Hasidim are walking all around. It was a little 10, 11. It was already after davening, actually. It was 11:30. And during the week. And he left me with this message. And I share it with you, and I hope it'll give us the right perspective to continue serving Hashem b'simcha, and Hashem will bless us with kol tuv sela, only good, b'tov anira v'nigla, revealed way shidduchim, good health, good children, and the Iker will be zoiche to see Mashiach with our physical eyes now, Yerushalayim, Amen, Amen, a guten Erev Shabbos.